The message of today's sermon is a very, very simple one. Slow down. Be honest with yourself. And let go of the things which may be causing harm. Let's start with slowing down. As I said at the beginning of our service today, we have just come out of a period of in-between, that part between Christmas and New Year's, where people sort of float through the week not knowing what day it is. It's sort of an enforced slowdown. I know I have benefited greatly from it. Busy weekdays have slowed, and we've been able to stay in slippers and comfortable clothes and be with each other in a way that the rest of the year doesn't really allow. Slowing down is quite a difficult thing in our society of constant going. The pull on parents to have our children in extracurriculars, the pull on employees to do the work the hardest and the smartest and to prove their worth in their fields. The pull on kids to learn everything they need to learn to make their grown-ups happy. The pull is all around us to just keep producing, to keep improving, to keep learning. And these are important things. But production is not what we are most fed by. Sure, some of us are excellent at creating tangible things that can provide amazing insights or powerful experiences or wonderful things that are crucial and important to the way that we live. They are valuable. But not as valuable or not more valuable than the state of our hearts and souls. To quote the author Ian Thomas, he says, "Every day, the world will drag you by the hand, pulling on you. This is important, and this is important. You need to worry about this, and this, and this." And each day, it's up to you to yank your hand back, put it on your heart, and say, no, this is what's important. Of course, there are many important things in this world pulling on us, calling us. And our faith implores us to witness and respond to the needs around us. But if we do not regularly yank our hands back and place them on our hearts, we will find ourselves brittle and breaking. We are part of a faithful call to tend to the needs around us, needs including our own. This requires some humility because so many of us are just saturated with this wonderful American idealism that we are immune to brittleness, that we can keep on keeping on because we are strong enough, we are selfless enough, we are capable enough to not have to worry about the tendernesses of our own hearts. This time of year really does offer something special in this slowness, in this almost floating sensation. And I hope that you have had moments to breathe and to rest, maybe find renewal. And seeing as how Monday is tomorrow, and for many of us that means return to the hustle, we must find moments and make time for the moments in the buzzing flow and the chaotic pulls in which we can slow down and appreciate where we are and check in with ourselves. And this leads me to the second part of our simple message for today, which is be honest with yourself, which I could write a whole series sermon on, but I'll keep it short for this moment. It's probably the most difficult thing anyone can ask another person to do. Self-reflection needs time set aside to do it. And knowing yourself is an important tool to be able to live with some degree of peace. In CPE, which is clinical pastoral education, which is part of the requirements to become a minister, you have to have an internship as a chaplain. Our UUA, as I said, has no small, and I've said this before and I'll say it again because I just came out of this, but no small requirement for what they require of their ministers. And chaplaincy, CPE education, was the most difficult, most transformative education that I have had in the last 5 years in this transformation into minister. And the greatest lesson that I learned was to be able to recognize in myself what might bat up against the kind of things that I will come across in chaplaincy and in ministry as a spiritual caregiver. Knowing oneself allows one to differentiate from the anxiety, fear, sadness, whatever other people come to us with. It helps us to know where we end and others begin. And I'll be preaching about knowing yourself in February, and I'll go into more depth of what it takes to be inward and knowing yourself. It is a long and constant and important journey. And there is a sharp tension between knowledge and practice, what we know versus what we do. And there is so much incredible wisdom from so many sources which can help us to gain knowledge. But if we don't take the time to intentionally be with those thoughts, feelings, and desires, and instead push them aside or down, the knowledge does us absolutely no good. The leap from knowing to doing can be a daunting one. It takes intention. It takes us choosing to take the time to go inward, to maybe take a stab at that clothesline practice, attending a meditation group, listening to an app with a guided practice. There are so many ways a person can engage in spiritual practice. Here alone in our congregation, you can join the choir. Singing in community is a wonderful way to be in spiritual practice. Being part of the pastoral care team, caring for others, is a wonderful way to practice spirituality. And you can do it in your regular chores, folding laundry, doing dishes, going inward, letting your mind be set free. Sometimes it's easier to do with rote physical activity. And these practices, we can reflect and be honest with ourselves about what is most important to us, about what is harming us or those around us, about what we can forgive, about what we might need to ask forgiveness for, about what might have more control over us than we would like, and about what we can let go of. There is incredible strength that comes from spiritual practice that benefits ourselves and the world around us. Honesty is the key. And something I come back to frequently and gives me strength is the first noble truth in Buddhism, which I know many of you are familiar with. But the first noble truth is that life is suffering. I had a patient during my chaplaincy internship who scoffed at me when I told her about the kind of comfort I got from that first noble truth, which I understood as she was a person currently suffering a unique and debilitating illness. It reminds me, though, that it isn't a personal truth. It is a universal one. Sometimes it is so hard to see outside of ourselves. We each only experience life through our two eyes, or our one body, our one timeline. We are so limited. At the same time, we are absolutely everything to ourselves. There is no escaping this body, our bodies. There's no escaping our experiences or our histories. We are with ourselves always. And when we are suffering, in whatever way, this noble truth reminds us all that we are not alone. I like this quote from James Baldwin. He says, "You think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read. It was Dostoevsky and Dickens who taught me that the things that tormented me most were the very things that connected me with all the people who were alive, who ever had been alive. Only if we face these open wounds in ourselves can we understand them in other people." Thinking your pain is unprecedented in the history of the world is a pretty isolating feeling. But we are not isolated. We are each one of billions, and we must live in the tension between the inescapability of our one experience of life and the absolute smallness of ourselves in relationship to the world and the incredible expansiveness of all that we do not know, all that exists in the farthest fathoms of space. In this tension where we can find strength, hope, peace. That is where spiritual fortitude exists. And spiritual fortitude is necessary for transforming this world into a beloved community where all people are valued by all people, with our differences intact, and where our earth and all its life is cherished and appreciated. It is a beautiful, aspirational vision. And it starts with being honest with ourselves, taking the time to fill our cups with nourishing love for the work we do, and surrendering to the things in our lives which we have no control over. In this spirit, we can choose to face things in our lives which hold us back, which keep us from showing love to ourselves and others with strength and certainty. We do have some power in this world. Each one of us. And it is worth exercising that power. So let's recap. Slow down. Be honest with yourself. And let go. Easily said, not always so easily done, though it is more easily done in a community of care. I invite you now to shift your thoughts to the papers that you received at the beginning, walking in, and to write on this special paper what you'd like to surrender, to let go of. What is in your control to release, to make change for a better in your life? Not all things are within our ability to release. Grief, for example. As much as we would like to see the pain of our grief dissolve into the water, grief is a valuable companion that reminds us the great love we have. Be gentle with yourself. Even if it is hard to write down. Even if it feels impossible. No one will see what you write down. This is for you. Let us take some time to be in reflection, and in a moment I will invite you to come forward to place your paper in the bowl of water. Please come forward as you're ready. Friends, this is no longer the same bowl of water that it was at the beginning of today. It has transformed from those things that you have given it. This water is full now of each one of your surrenderings. May these tender things be felt in our hearts. May we feel compelled to listen to our honest selves and surrender the things that no longer serve us, that may be actively harming us or others. May we forgive, for we are mistake makers. May we see a clearer vision of our future without pain or angst we hold on to needlessly. May we release and feel relieved, knowing our own lives and the lives of the people we touch are worth making